Hello, welcome to Ghost Prime Transformer Reviews. Today I'll be taking a look at Mr. Fancy Pants himself, War for Cybertron Siege Mirage. Now he's the newest incarnation of this character, coming from the War for Cybertron line. He transforms into a resemblance of an F1 racer that's supposed to be for Cybertron. It's weird, I think, because he has spoilers. Why would he have spoilers? Is any oxygen or airflow on Cybertron? I was assumed that there was not. But this figure has a faux chest, a faux spoiler chest to make him look like the Generation 1. He's got some pretty nice paintwork on him. He does have a shoulder launcher and his gun. Pretty decent articulation. Now this is actually one that looks much better in person than it does in pictures or promotional shots. Now Mirage, the original 1984 Mirage, was 2 per case in the 80s for that 1984 Mirage. And 1984 Mirage was based off of a real car and a real that had real sponsors. And one of the sponsors was a cigarette company. It's a French cigarette company, and I can't pronounce it. It started with a C. Even the Diaclone version of it had the C. So for Hasbro, when they took it, they changed the C to a G, but kept the mascot on the original 1984 figure. I'll go over that later when I go through the comparisons. This one actually has a resemblance of the logo, but it's done in Cybertronian text. I have not gone and deciphered this to figure out if it does say a similar thing to the Generation 1. Now, one of Mirage's powers is he can change invisible. I did get the 3-pack of the figures with Impactor, so he does have I do have the clear version I'll be comparing him to with the different head. He's a nice little figure. He's got some decent articulation. He actually, like I said, a lot better in person. He does have this clear plastic, and this clear plastic here could break very easily. There's these little tabs. Can't really see them right here. I'll point them out to you, but they can break easy where they tab in. You just got to be very careful when you transform it. So, without any further ado, let's get to the review. All right, let's take a look at the packaging. So he comes in a very standard packaging with, again, this beautiful artwork on the side. One of the things I really wish that these artwork were flat on here. That way you could display the boxes all side by side or cut out. I mean, I guess I could cut out the images, but this artwork, I love these. This is really nice. Some of the best Transformers artwork on packaging I think we've got in a long time. Done up very, very nicely. If I take a closer look here, it's done up real nice. It doesn't seem to have any. It has just as a Transformer logo right here. You can see if I could kind of make it out with this camera with this blacklight responsive. Otherwise, it doesn't really have any blacklight responsive pieces that I can see. Other than it looks to be Mirage himself. Very hard to see. I don't have a black light. So yeah, he does. He does. There's some writing here. Wasn't Mirage. There's some writing here. There's some pictures. If you know what this says or what these pictures are, I don't know if you can see them, but they're there. Let me see if I can get in the light. The box came bent. I got it from Amazon. So you can kind of see it there. I don't know what to make out of that. I don't have a black light. I know Halloween, and I don't have a black light. There's the top of the box. The Siege artwork on the side, and on the back of the box you get the product shots, which is just the figure himself, and you can see he has his shoulder cannon, he has his gun, the race car mode, and he could hold a Battle Master here. Legal jargon on the box, on the bottom of the box. Inside the box, besides the figure, you get instructions. Now the instruction sheet is just like all the other Siege instructions. It's nicely laid out, clear and easy to read, and shows him here in his vehicle mode. Sorry, I need to focus a little bit. And his vehicle mode there. And on the back, it shows his weapons with Cybertronian writing on what they're called. And then some
Battlemaster pack-ins, and then where you could place his weapons, how you could place the blast effects in the front of his blaster here, just like in the other ones. Again, he has all the different peg holes. And, of course, the figure. Yeah, so he looks pretty good in this coloration. See if we get up close on his face here. If my camera decides it wants, there we go. It's got a pretty decent head sculpt. I really love the red paint around his chest here, the Autobot logo. Going on down to the legs. As I mentioned, the Cybertron writing on the original cigarette logo. He does have translucent plastic here on his legs. And the spoiler folds up in the back there. And as you can see, the front wheel's there. Or the back wheel's there. And of course, he has his weapon, which has a peg in the back and a peg on the bottom here. He has his shoulder-mounted weapon, which is very reminiscent of the Generation 1. He has the missile, which is removable but does not fire. It has a little peg here, so you could use any one of the holes to actually just peg it in. He can hold it like a gun. You could make him have a super launcher, super shoulder launcher thing, if you will. It also has a peg on the back, so you could have him hold it like a staff for reasons. It is a thing you could do if you want to do it. And yeah, you can have a big gun. You can hold on a giant shoulder cannon. There's tons of playability here, which is very nice. So one of the things I wanted to do is I mentioned I have the clear one. And the clear one, which I will show you right now, comes with all the same accessories done in the transparent blue color. They are all exactly the same. Just a different color. If it decides it wants to focus, please focus. I like putting this little nub to the side. I don't like it hanging down like that, but that's my personal preference. And the gun here. They really did choose a nice color blue. And I'm going to show you a close-up on this guy. Look at that face sculpt. That is a Generation 1 toy face sculpt. Very nicely done on this. It would have been nice to see this in color, because it is hard to get all the detail when it's the clear plastic like this. So something that's really neat about this, as far as detail is concerned, and I don't know if people really notice it. I haven't seen it much, but you can see or heard about it anything much. You can see this mesh pattern here. You can also make out the 26 logo on his chest, which is the number that he was in the original Generation 1 toy. And while he doesn't have anything on his legs, if you look at the spoiler, see if I can get it in camera here. It's very hard to see. Actually, it shows really easy. So you have some writing there. And the other side of the spoiler, get the camera right there, that's barely noticeable. See if you could, there we go. That says Visages. So this is really neat, I think. I think it's really cool that you can barely notice it actually on the figure, but when you look at the figure, it actually has some interest to it. It has some interesting things going on. So compare them together. They are exactly the same. They transform the same. They have the same articulation. They are exactly the same. So now for some comparisons. Here he is next to the Classics Mirage. you can see, he is taller, so he's shorter than this one. Of course, he's much bulkier than this guy. And I really like this figure. For the time, it had a really good articulation. Still is a really nice figure, even if with a tiny head. But there he is with that guy. Here he is with the Generation 1 figure. So you see he's quite a bit taller. Here he is with Voyager Optimus Prime. So you can see he's got a good, decent size if you compare him to how he would normally be in the cartoon. The Siege line's pretty decent about that. That's one thing I do like about the Siege line. Their scale is pretty good. Articulation on this guy. So he's actually really nicely articulated, even for a Siege figure. He has his head can go 360. It kind of, I think it might be on a ball joint because he does a little up and down motion. Let's see if I can get that in camera. Small up and down motion. Arms go out. He has full bicep swivel, 90 degrees of the elbow, no wrist swivel. Due to transformation, he could actually reach over like this with his arm. So he could reach out. He could kind of do poses like this. He could hold things like this. He has a full waist swivel all the way around, 360. Legs up and back. 90 at the knee. Full on out to the side. He has ankle pivots. And a little bit of rocker because of the way the transformation goes. Now these go in transformation, these go down like this. So it actually has a good amount of up toe up, which is really nice for different poses when you have them like this. Let's see if I can pose him real fast. Something, I don't know, something cool. Whatever. He has some good posability. And as far as transformation goes, he's actually decently easy to transform. So one of the first things you could do here to get this guy transformed into vehicle mode is take his body. You see this piece here, pull it out because it tabs in right here. So you just pull it out and up like this, make him super tall. All right, hands fold inward, both sides. Move these up like this. Back wheels fold out. Head goes in. This whole piece comes around like so. Now for the legs, which are the most complicated part. So you take them, you twist them like this. You can see there's the Autobot logo right there. That's where the faux front end comes in. Twist them like this, move this back. These are on these little arms, hinges. Toes go forward, both sides, like so. These pieces here, the front wheels, come out and around. You can see these tabs, which go over here. Put them together, turn them around, come back around, push these two pieces in together. These also tab, there's tabs. You can see it here and here, and you want to be careful with these because this is the translucent plastic. It tends to be more brittle than the plastic that is opaque. And line them up like that, and you also line up some in the front. Squeeze it together. Also, these two tabs here are tiny little tabs, very thin tabs, and those go directly into these holes right there. Not the big ones, the little ones right here. So this piece goes up and over his head and around. And you take it and very carefully just press that together, so you have something like this. The arms, you can move the spoilers up, bend the arms of the elbow here, And there are tabs on this right here that go right in here. Tab together like so. Now there's also, see if I can get this on camera. There is, so this piece right here. So when you put the arms together, it forms this piece right here, which actually goes into a slot right there. You kind of see it. See if I get a better focus. There we go. So you get that right in there. It's kind of hard to press in, and it holds that piece together. So you have the spoilers, and you just kind of take these tabs, which are on opposite sides, put together, press like that, and you have him in car mode. So yeah, he looks pretty good in car mode. The one thing that is weird that he does have a lot of spoilers, and there's obviously no oxygen. So it's not very, it's aerodynamic, but this is not aerodynamic in the slightest. It's just a wall. If this were actually on Earth, this would create a lot of drag. I kind of would like to have seen these pieces line up with this piece and this be on top. I'm not sure if that was in the original design, but that's what I would have liked to see, because as it is, it's just sort of like sitting up there. It doesn't really seem to serve much of a purpose. I think maybe they might be going for like a scoop or something, which would imply there's atmosphere and oxygen. I'm just not feeling that. On the back, there is a spoiler from the front. So he has a front and back spoiler. I guess they decided, hey, it's Cybertronian. It doesn't really matter. So it's an alien anyway. But I think it does overall look pretty good. And it rolls really nicely. And the pieces on the top here, as I showed you in the instructions earlier, you can put his weapons up there. I'm not a huge fan of this up on the top. It looks okay. I would have liked to see maybe some more holes you could put them in. Maybe something on the side. Maybe something exposed. I don't know, maybe you could put it back. Or here. I don't know how they would do it, but something a little different. I know they could put him here. He'd make some holes on his legs, but I don't think it would look terrible. But overall, it's okay. And here he is next to the clear variant here. So as you can see, they retain all the same sculpted detail. This one does have other painted detail on it. See if I could zoom. There we go. You can see that honeycomb pattern on it, and again with the 26, very lightly printed in there. I think that, for me, that puts this one above the other one. Just those little details that they really decided that they wanted to put in and make it visually interesting. You know, I think that really goes a long way. I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen anybody actually touch on that yet. That it is present. It's super nice. Very cool figure. It's just really nice. So there's that comparison to that guy. Here he is next to his Generation 1 counterpart. As you can see, the logo there, kind of reminiscent of this. And this, sorry, it was a G and they sent it to a C. I was reversed on that. This is a cigarette logo, or a type of cigarettes, if that's a G, from France. And the little dancing lady there, too, is the mascot for that cigarette company. Of course, this doesn't retain any of that. But as you see, it does have this, the Autobot logo there, 26. This has the Autobot logo. This one has the 26. It always terrifies me when I transform this. I don't want it to break at the waist. Oh, another interesting fact is, this guy was actually designed to fit in Optimus Prime's trailer for the launching mechanism. So, on to my final thoughts about this guy.
And that's War for Cybertron Siege Mirage in a nutshell. I originally set out to get this one and not this one, and the opportunity presented itself on Amazon to grab this guy here. I figured, why not? It'd be a good comparison. Maybe I could sell him later, but he's actually grown on me. I do like the Generations version of this figure a lot, or this character a lot, and I didn't know if I really was ready to replace that. I still am not quite sure. I did not get the San Diego, I think it was San Diego Comic Con or BotCon clear version of that generation figure, so I was pretty happy with this. I'm glad that these are easy to get. Most people want Impactor out of that set, so I'm sure if you just want this guy, you could probably find him on the secondary market relatively cheap, probably in the $20, $25 range right now. He does have the Generation 1 style head, and this has a new head, so there is an incentive to get this. It would be nice if they had this one painted like this one, like they did originally in the promotion shots. I do wonder if we're going to get a red one of these. So, it's up to you if you decide to actually get this guy and put him on your shelf if you already have a version of Mirage that you're happy with. He is a decent figure. He does have the faux chest. If that bothers you, then that's an issue. He has an interesting transformation. He has really decent posability, and his joints are pretty tight and nice. So, I recommend him if you don't already have a Mirage, or if you want a Mirage that actually fits in with the scale of the Siege line. It is weird that he does have a sort of like a faux Earth mode, Cybertronian mode. I believe his looks more Earth mode than the rest. It has to be seen if it'll still be seen if we're doing these characters in Earth Wars and just getting all these same characters over again. So, anyway, please like, subscribe, hit the down button if you have to, and I'll see you next time.